So we're focusing on day 22, today and tomorrow. So this is more of a video for non-honors English 9. There is a lot of confusion and probably frustration this morning about what exactly we're looking for in the assignment for day 22. So day 22 looks like this right here. It starts off with the noun clause A. And it's important to know what a clause is before we look at what a noun clause is, okay? A clause is a clause because it has a subject and a verb. So a group of words can be anything. A phrase can be any group of words. A clause has to have a subject and a verb to be a clause. So that's part of what we're looking for today. And then in your notes up there at the top, in its explanation, its definition, it goes ahead and it tells you that a noun clause is a subordinate clause, which is just a fancy pants word for dependent. So it's a dependent clause with a subject and verb inside of it, but it still can't stand on its own. And that clause, that group of words, acts as just a noun. So a noun is just an object, just a person, place, thing, or idea. Okay? And the best way to understand that is just to see it done in practice. Then your next notes inside of that top portion, it says a noun clause may be used as a subject, a predicate, nominative, a direct object, an indirect object, or the object of a preposition. I'm not so much worried about those labels, because it doesn't even give you that much information about them, and we haven't really spent very much time on them, hardly at all. So I'm not worried about scoring you based on your labels of those parts of a sentence. So don't worry about them. What I'm worried about is that you can, at first, at least identify a noun clause. The only way you can do that, you can learn how to do that, is through practice. So right here they give you a few examples with their labels. Everything in bold, everything I'm about to underline, is a noun clause. Okay, so all of those bold phrases are noun clauses. And they go ahead and they demonstrate for you, okay, this is an example of a predicate nominative. Nominative is just a fancy word for noun. That's all. And it comes after a be verb. Okay, it comes after is, was, were, are, being, will be, become. It comes after those types of verbs specifically, because it's defining what a noun exists as. Okay? And then you've got she thinks something. Okay? All of these noun clauses can be replaced with something or someone. Okay? So I can read this, of course, as she thinks that I'll do well on the test. I can also read it as she thinks something. Okay? Anytime you can replace a phrase with the word something or the word someone, then it is a noun. It operates as a noun. Okay? So a glass of water is something. Doesn't matter what it is something. Chen will give someone the ball. So this is telling you right here about direct objects that she thinks something. So that's receiving the action or being modified by the action thinks. She thinks something. And then there's nothing to intercept that action or to come between that action and what's being acted upon. However, if we look at Chen will give the ball. The ball is the direct object. Okay, that's really sloppy note-taking there, but it's really hard to draw, right? That's something we learned today. It's really hard to draw through Zoom. What this sentence is saying is it's saying that Jen will give the ball. The ball is being directly acted upon. It is being given. Someone will receive the object that is being acted upon. And it doesn't matter who, but it's intercepting. It's coming between those two things. So you can read this as Jen will give someone the ball. Any phrase that can be replaced with something or someone is a noun. Okay? And I'll talk a little bit more about how it works as a clause here in just a second when I have more room. For exercise A, it asks you to underline the noun clause in each sentence below. And they give you an example in example 1. So we've got example 1. And it's critical that we refer back to this list over and over and over for every single one. They don't give this to you just to make it look pretty on the page. It's required that you use this list, okay? Words commonly used to introduce noun clauses. Words commonly used to begin noun clauses is what this is saying. How, that, what, whatever, when, where, whether, which, whichever, who, whoever, whom, whomever, whose, and why. Look for these words in every single question, okay? So in example 1, they give you the answer. And they mark it up in their example 1 exactly how you should be marking them up, or exactly how you're required to. So you're required just to give that underline of that clause. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it up even more than that. So that way I know I am confident in my answer and I am explaining my answer as I go. I'm providing a defense or an explanation as I go so I can answer with confidence every single time over and over and over. So we've got the word that's one of my indicators, right? That's one of my introductory words for noun clauses. I've got the word that. And the reason this is a clause is because it has a subject, and that subject gets to want something. So I wanted to visit. Once you reach this word, the word that, your introductory word, your indicator, you can replace this entire clause with the word something. I said something. Specifically, I said that I wanted to visit some temples on our trip. That's what a noun clause looks like, okay? For number 1, so let's do this one. For number 1, my indicator word is what, and that comes directly from this list. This is something. What is it specifically? This is what you should wear inside a temple. This is something. This is what you should wear. Okay, specifically, what should you wear? This is what you should wear specifically inside a temple. This is something. This is an incredibly specific category of what you should wear. And the whole thing acts as a noun. This is something. If I go down to number 2, I find my indicator word, which comes directly from this list, which. Find out which parts of the temple can be visited. So I'm going to underline from the word which all the way to the end of that sentence because it can be all replaced with something. Find out something. This is an imperative sentence, so it has an implied subject of you. It's a command to you. So you go find out which parts of the temple can be visited. It can be replaced with something. Find out something. Find out what? Find out which parts, okay? Which parts of what? Which parts of the temple? Specifically, which parts of the temple? Which parts of the temple can be visited? This is just an incredibly specific category of parts. Let's see if I can get that mark to go away. Let me look at number 3. We don't know. We don't know. It could end there. A sentence could end there at we don't know. That's a complete sentence because you got your subject verb. But what I'm looking for is my indicator word, whether, And then I know that the rest of it can be replaced with the word something. We don't know something. We don't know whether we will see a temple elephant. Sorry about the sloppiness there. We don't know whether we will see a temple elephant. We don't know something. We don't know what. We don't know whether we will see a temple elephant. We don't know something. This whole thing is a noun. And we know it's a noun clause because it has its indicator word and then it has its subject. That subject gets to do something. That's why it's a subject. Indicator word, subject, verb. That's what makes it a clause, is that subject, verb. Same thing goes up here. We've got parts, that's something, right? And it gets to be visited. It can be visited. So we got subject, verb there. Indicator word, you should wear. So we got indicator word, subject, verb. Indicator word, subject, verb. I wanted. Then we get down to 4 is a little different. Find our indicator word. Okay. Whoever is offered fresh coconut. And that's where it stops. Because we get to that main verb after that point. That's where it stops. Someone is being honored. We could even say something is being honored. All that's happening here is you've got a noun in whoever, and it has a verb directly after it, so it's the subject, is offered. Whoever is offered fresh coconut, that's a category of people. That's a group of people with a specific condition here that's making them a part of that group, a part of that specific noun. Someone is being honored. That's my noun clause. Okay? I'm going to leave this one up to you. You find your indicator word. Okay? That's your start. That's always your start. Find your indicator word. We get down here. I don't care about this part. I want you to be able to identify a noun clause. That's what I'm grading you on. That's what I want. You look at number 6. I have always believed something. Specifically, I have always believed that people like to laugh. Indicator word. We've got our verb. Something gets to complete that action, so that's people. Indicator word, subject, verb. 7. This one's ever so slightly different, but we kind of did the exact same thing in 4. Find your indicator word first, what you decide to do, and then by that time you've gotten to the main verb. What you decide to do is completely up to you. Something is completely up to you. That's a noun. Indicator word, subject, verb. Okay, then we've got number 8. Number 8 is probably the most different out of them all. Number 8 is exactly like your note right here. Chen will give someone the ball. Okay, will give whoever is left the prize. So what you're really reading is you're reading someone saying, we'll give the prize. Okay, well, who gets the prize? We'll give whoever is left the prize. We'll give someone the prize. You've got your indicator word, which just also so happens to be your subject. And then you've got verb. Okay, whoever is. And that's how this is done. When you scroll down to your next page, I'm sorry that scan looks terrible, but it was stapled together. You scroll down to your next page. I don't care about these parts. I don't care. I want you to be able to identify these. We will give someone free tickets. She talked about something. Someone will receive the prize, or receive a prize, excuse me. That's what I care about. And so we've even marked some of these up from previous classes. And a student immediately latched on to this as their subordinate clause. They immediately recognized the subordinate clause here. Because they tell you that a noun is a subordinate clause. Well, of course you would latch onto this. This is what we've been talking about as a subordinate clause. But we just so happen to be looking for a different type of subordinate clause today, okay? So this could be confusing. Number one here could be confusing. So I commend that student for pointing out subordinating conjunction subject verb. Yes, that's a subordinate clause, the way that we've defined it so far. But we're looking for a different type of clause. We're looking for a different type of subordinate clause, which means that we have to follow the rules that we've been given today. We have to follow the notes that we've been given today, which include the words commonly used to begin or introduce noun clauses. So we have to go with this word. We have to find how. So how is our indicator word, and then we've got subject, verb, right? You would think. And that's how we take care of that, is we find our indicator word, subject, verb, we have a noun clause, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So we can forget this guy today. It's a different type of subordinate clause. And then I went ahead and I gave you the next one because number 2 is so long. Number 2, that's by far the longest noun clause we've seen so far together. So it begins with the word that, your indicator there. Then you've got the candidate for the Senate office. That's a really big subject. And that subject has its action, was very conservative. Once you get to was, you're good to go on that one because you've got that's your verb, that's your be verb, your matter of existing. So you've got your indicator word, subject, verb, and then here everything else is just your main verb. So you've got something was not a widely known fact. And that's how this page is done. For regular English 9, we're not going to worry about these last 2 pages because these last 2 pages are the same exercise, except they want you to identify more parts of speech. And without the proper notes and that basic background, that would be incredibly difficult and overwhelming. So we're not going to worry about that today. We are going to revel in the achievement of understanding specifically noun clauses and how they work today.